The flashing red and blue lights pierced the dark night like a siren's scream on the outskirts of Denver. Highway 36 was empty at this hour, the cold October wind whipping through the pines lining the road. Officer Mia Reynolds gripped her steering wheel, her eyes scanning the shadows ahead. At 32, with 5 years on the force, Mia had seen it all: drunk drivers, reckless teens, desperate runners. But tonight felt different. Her shift was almost over, and the memory of her own loss lingered, a ghost she couldn't shake. 3 years ago, a speeding car had taken her daughter in a senseless crash. Since then, rules weren't just guidelines, they were her armor. Up ahead, an old Ford pickup barreled past the speed limit sign, 85 in a 60 zone. Mia flipped on her lights and siren pulling out behind it. "Pull over now," she shouted into her radio, though the driver couldn't hear. The truck swerved slightly, tires screeching as it braked hard and veered to the shoulder, skidding a few feet before stopping. Mia approached cautiously, her hand on her holster flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The driver's window rolled down slowly. The man inside, Ethan Harper, though she didn't know his name yet, was pale, his knuckles white on the wheel. He looked about her age, disheveled in a grease-stained work shirt, his eyes wide with panic. "License and registration." Mia said, her voice like steel, trained to stay detached. "Please, officer. I can't stop long." Ethan's hands trembled as he fumbled for his wallet. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the chill. Mia narrowed her eyes, ready to call for backup. Speeders always had excuses, but something in his voice cracked her resolve, a raw desperation she recognized from her own nightmares. Before she could respond, a faint cry echoed from the back seat. "Daddy?" "I'm cold." Mia froze. She leaned in, shining her light inside. Curled up under a thin blanket was a small boy no older than 6, his face flushed and slick with sweat. His lips were tinged blue, his breathing shallow, eyes half-lidded like he was fighting to stay awake. Ethan's voice broke. "My son, Leo. He's burning up. He started convulsing earlier. I called 911, but they said ambulances are backed up. I have to get him to the hospital now." The air thickened with tension. Mia's mind raced. Protocol screamed at her ticket. Him impound, if needed, call it in. No exceptions, that's what kept roads safe, what might have saved her little girl. But here was a child slipping away right in front of her. Law on one side, life on the other. Her grip tightened on the flashlight, her eyes flickering with doubt for the first time that night. Before we continue, please tell us, where in the world are you tuning in from? We love seeing how far our stories travel. If you were Mia, what would you do? Enforce the law, no exceptions, or bend the rules to race against time? Listen on, because her decision in the next 30 seconds will change both their lives and uncover a secret more shocking than speeding. Mia revved her patrol car's engine, flipping on the emergency lights as Ethan followed closely behind in his truck. The siren wailed through the night, cutting a path along the rain-slicked highway toward St. Mary's Hospital in downtown Denver. Her heart pounded, not from the speed, but from the weight of her choice. She'd broken protocol, escorting a speeder instead of citing him. But the boy's faint cries echoed in her mind, overriding the rulebook she'd clung to since her daughter's death. They screeched into the emergency bay 10 minutes later. Mia jumped out, yanking open Ethan's back door. Leo lay limp, his small chest heaving with labored breaths. She scooped him up, the heat from his fever radiating through the blanket. "Stay with me, kid," she muttered, rushing through the automatic doors. Ethan stumbled after her, his face etched with terror. "Nurse, we've got a pediatric emergency, high fever, possible seizures," Mia barked, laying Leo on a gurney. Doctors and nurses swarmed, hooking him to monitors, checking vitals. An IV line went in, fluids and fever reducers administered. Ethan hovered nearby, wringing his hands. One doctor, a middle-aged woman with sharp eyes, turned to Ethan. "How long has this been going on?" "About an hour," Ethan stammered. "He was fine earlier. Then he started burning up. I gave him kids Tylenol, but he convulsed. I called 911. They said ambulances were tied up with a pile-up downtown. I couldn't wait." Mia stood back, arms crossed, watching. She'd heard excuses before, but this felt real. Still doubt lingered. Speeders lied. She pulled out her notebook. "You called 911. Timestamp," Ethan nodded, pulling up his phone log. 8:47 p.m. Dispatch said 20 to 30 minute wait. Leo was turning blue. "I had to go." The doctor nodded, but her brow furrowed as she examined Leo's pupils. His responses are sluggish. Not typical for a standard fever. She ordered blood work and turned to a nurse. Pull any prior records on Leo Harper. Mia's instincts kicked in. Prior records, the nurse returned minutes later with a thin file. He's been here 4 times in the last 6 months. Similar symptoms: lethargy, disorientation, unexplained drowsiness. Ethan's face drained of color. What? No, that can't be right. He's had a few bugs, but... Mia flipped through the pages. Entries dated back ER visits for unresponsive episodes, always resolving after fluids and monitoring. No clear diagnosis. Why so many? She pressed. Ethan sank into a chair, head in hands. I don't know. It started after his mom died. He stays with his grandmother, my late wife's mother, on weekends when I work nights. Every time he comes back, he's wiped out, sleeps for hours. I thought it was just exhaustion from playing. Mia's jaw tightened. Grandmother, before Ethan could respond, his phone buzzed incessantly. The screen flashed, Mom-in-law. He stared at it, hesitating. Answer it, Mia said, her voice low. Put it on speaker. Ethan swallowed, complying. A shrill voice erupted. Where the hell is my grandson? You took him without telling me. I'm calling the cops. You're kidnapping him. Ethan's voice cracked. He's in the ER, Mom. Leo's sick, fever, convulsions. The woman scoffed. He's fine. You're just dramatizing to keep him from me. I told you only give him my medicine. It's what he needs. Mia's eyes narrowed. Your medicine. Ethan glanced at Mia, panic rising. She always sends him back with some supplements. Says it's vitamins to build him up. The line went dead as the woman hung up. Mia pocketed her radio. Doctor, run a talk screen. Now. The wait felt eternal. Ethan paced, muttering apologies. I should have noticed sooner. But she's family, is Grandma. She loved my wife. Finally, the doctor returned, chart in hand. Positive for benzodiazepines. Sedative levels, not trace amounts. This explains the drowsiness. It's consistent with chronic exposure, not a one-off. Ethan staggered back. Sedatives, I'd never. Oh God, her vitamins. She's been drugging him. Mia's mind raced. Chronic, that meant repeated dosing. How long based on build-up weeks? Maybe months, the doctor replied gravely. Ethan collapsed into sobs. Why would she? The ER doors burst open. An older woman stormed in elegant coat, perfectly coiffed hair, eyes blazing. Where's my Leo? Get out of my way. Nurses tried to intervene, but she pushed past. I'm his grandmother. He needs to come home with me now. Ethan stood blocking her. No, you're not taking him, the woman Evelyn sneered. You, the deadbeat who can't even afford proper care, I'm getting him out of here. Mia stepped forward, badge flashing. Ma'am, step back. We're running tests. Evelyn whirled on her. Tests for what? He's just overtired from this fool's neglect. Leo stirred on the bed, his voice a weak whisper. Grandma, you said if I drink the special juice, I'll be good. And sleep, so Daddy doesn't take me away. The room fell silent. Evelyn's face paled, her composure cracking for a split second. He's delirious fever talk. Mia's radio crackled, dispatch calling, but her phone buzzed. Next her sergeant, Reynolds, report in. We've got questions about that escort. She silenced it, her stomach twisting. The night was far from over. The ER waiting area buzzed with low murmurs from other patients and families, but the tension around Leo's room was thick enough to cut. Evelyn stormed closer, her heels clicking sharply on the linoleum floor. Nurses exchanged uneasy glances as she shoved past a curtain, her face twisted in feigned outrage. This is absurd. You're treating me like a criminal when I'm the one who's been there for that boy since day one? Ethan rose from his chair beside Leo's bed, his body blocking her path. You need to leave. Now! Evelyn's eyes darted around the room, taking in the monitors, beeping steadily, the IV drip, feeding fluids into Leo's small arm. She raised her voice loud enough for the nearby staff and visitors to hear. Everyone look at this deadbeat father who can't even keep a steady job, dragging my grandson to the ER in the middle of the night. He's the one who should be questioned, not me, the grandmother who's raised him while this man works odd hours and leaves him starving. Mia positioned herself between them, her stance firm. Ma'am, lower your voice. This is a hospital. Evelyn spun toward her, tears welling up artfully in her eyes. Oh, now. The cop wants to play hero. You believe him over me? I've been feeding that child, clothing him ever since my daughter. God rest her soul, passed away because of his negligence. He couldn't provide for her, and now he's doing the same to Leo. The words hit Ethan like a punch. He flinched, memories flashing his wife's exhausted face in those final months, the hospital bills piling up her quiet pleas for him to work more shifts. Poverty had worn them down, but Evelyn twisted it into a weapon. Whispers rippled through the hallway, other families glancing over, judging. Mia saw the gaslighting unfold, Evelyn painting herself as the martyr, using societal biases against struggling single parents to sow doubt. Negligence. Ethan whispered, his voice breaking. I loved her. I've been killing myself to keep Leo safe. Evelyn scoffed, her performance ramping up. Safe you call racing down the highway at night safe. Your poor Ethan admit it. No money for doctors, no stability. That's why I step in. But no, you resent me for it, Mia intervened. This isn't about resentment. The tox screen showed sedatives in his system. Evelyn's expression shifted to mock innocence. Sedatives. Oh, please. It's probably from that cheap cough syrup you buy. Or maybe he's just overtired from your chaotic life. I give him natural remedies, herbal sleep aids to calm him down. He gets so anxious around you, the doctor overhearing stepped in. Herbal aids don't explain benzodiazepine levels. Evelyn waved it off. Doctors make mistakes. Test again if you want. But mark my words, this man is unfit. He doesn't even have his name on the birth certificate. Mia turned to Ethan. Her tone measured. Is that true? Ethan nodded slowly, shame flooding his face. After she died in childbirth, everything was a blur. Hospital forms, grief, I didn't push for the paperwork, but I've raised him every day. He's my son. Evelyn pounced. See no legal rights. He's basically kidnapping my grandson. I want him out of here with me. The accusation hung heavy. Mia felt the room tilt, Evelyn flipping the narrative, using the legal gap to undermine Ethan's parenthood. Whispers grew louder. No papers. That's suspicious. Ethan's shoulders slumped, the weight of judgment crushing him. Evelyn wasn't done, she rounded on Mia. And you escorted a speeder here, broke every rule in the book. I'll report you. You'll lose your badge for this favoritism. Mia's radio crackled again. Another nudge from dispatch, but she ignored it. I'm here for the child, not favoritism. Evelyn laughed bitterly. Child. You mean the one I've been protecting from his father's failures? If Ethan had been a better provider, my daughter might still be alive, stressed from poverty. That's what killed her. The blow landed. Ethan staggered, tears streaming. Don't say that. I tried everything. From the bed, Leo stirred weakly, his voice a fragile thread. Grandma, if I sleep, Daddy won't take me away, right? You said the juice makes me good. Evelyn's facade cracked, her eyes widening in panic. She lunged toward the bed. Hush, sweetie. You're confused. The fever's talking. But the words echoed, exposing the manipulation. Nurses froze. The doctor noted it down. Ethan knelt by Leo, stroking his hair. I'm here, buddy. No more sleeping like that. Evelyn recovered quickly, her voice venomous. You think you've won? You're nothing without me. I'll fight this court's lawyers. You'll lose him. Ethan looked up, his voice steady for the first time. I'm not trying to win anything. I just want my son to live. Mia signaled a security guard. Ma'am, you need to leave the premises. We're involving child services, Evelyn shrieked as she was escorted out. You'll regret this, all of you. The door slammed, leaving silence. Mia's phone buzzed insistently, her sergeant demanding an explanation. She stared at Leo's pale face, knowing the storm wasn't over. The morning light filtered weakly through the hospital blinds, casting long shadows across the sterile floor of Leo's room. Dr. Harris entered quietly, his white coat crisp, holding a fresh printout of lab results. Ethan sat vigil by the bed, his eyes bloodshot from a sleepless night, while Leo dozed fitfully, the IV still humming. Mia lingered in the doorway, her uniform rumpled radio clipped to her belt. Evelyn paced the hallway outside, her earlier fury simmering into calculated glares through the glass. We've confirmed the tox screen a second time, Dr. Harris announced, his voice steady but grave. Benzodiazepines at levels indicating repeated exposure. No contaminants or errors. This isn't from a one-time mix-up like contaminated cough syrup. Evelyn burst in before the door fully closed behind him. Cough syrup. That's exactly what it is, some over-the-counter herbal blend I gave him for his coughs. You doctors always overreact. Dr. Harris met her gaze unflinchingly. Herbal blends don't contain prescription sedatives, ma'am. This is pharmaceutical grade, and the buildup suggests chronic dosing, not a single incident. Mia stepped forward, flipping open her notebook. We need the full history. Pull the detailed records. A nurse complied, handing over an expanded file. Mia scanned it with Dr. Harris. 4 admissions in 6 months, all with lethargy disorientation. And here, notes from prior visits. Guardian insisted on early discharge despite unresolved symptoms. Ethan's head snapped up. That was you. You pulled him out early. Evelyn shrugged defensively. He was fine. Just tired. I didn't want him poked and prodded for nothing. Hospitals are expensive and you certainly can't afford them. The door opened again, admitting Ms. Carter from Child Protective Services, a no-nonsense woman in her 40s carrying a briefcase and wearing a lanyard with her badge. She introduced herself briskly. I'm here on an emergency referral, suspected child endangerment via substance exposure. Evelyn's eyes widened. Endangerment? This is outrageous. I'm his grandmother, the only stable family he has. Miss Carter ignored the outburst, turning to Dr. Harris. Medical confirmation. He nodded. Affirmative. Chronic sedative presence inconsistent with standard care. Ms. Carter addressed Mia. Officer, your report, Mia summarized. The night the stop, the escort, the grandmother's call mentioning my medicine. Miss Carter's expression hardened. We're issuing an emergency protective order. Leo stays with his father under supervised custody pending investigation. No unsupervised contact with the grandmother. Evelyn exploded. You can't, he's not even legally the father. No name on the birth certificate, I have rights. Ms. Carter remained calm. In emergencies, child safety supersedes paperwork disputes. We'll address paternity formally, but for now the tox results dictate caution. Mia pulled Ethan aside. Show me your phone. Any messages from her? Ethan unlocked it with shaking fingers. Text scrolled. Only give him my supplements, don't mess it up. Weekend schedule. He stays with me. You work. If you fight me, I'll prove you're unfit. Mia photographed them. This shows control patterns. Ms. Carter, add these to the file. Ms. Carter noted it down. Manipulation via medication, restricted access threats. Classic signs. Evelyn overheard her face flushing. Those are just reminders he's incompetent, can't even hold a job without handouts from me. Miss Carter handed Ethan a form. This is a custody affirmation and cooperation agreement. Sign it. It commits you to supervised visits from us, full disclosure, and no contact with her until cleared. Ethan stared at the paper, tears blurring the lines. I just want him safe. He signed his hand, unsteady ink smudging where a drop fell. Security arrived as Evelyn tried to approach the bed again. Time to go, ma'am, one guard said. She resisted, clawing at the air. You're all blind. He'll ruin that boy just like he ruined my daughter. The guards escorted her out firmly, her protests echoing down the hall until the doors muffled them. The room fell quiet, save for Leo's soft breathing. Miss Carter packed her briefcase. We'll follow up tomorrow. Get some rest, Mr. Harper. As she left, Mia's phone vibrated her sergeant's number. She answered, stepping into the hall. Reynolds here. Explain the escort last night. Protocol breach. Report to the station by noon for a full debrief. Mia glanced back through the window at Ethan holding Leo's hand. She whispered to herself, if there's a price, I'll pay it. Sunlight streamed through the hospital window, warming the room where Leo lay, his small frame finally still after the chaotic night. The monitors beeped softly, a steady rhythm that spoke of stability. Ethan dozed in the chair beside the bed, his hands still clasped around his son's. Mia stood nearby, nursing a lukewarm coffee from the vending machine, her shift long over, but her presence unwavering. Leo stirred first, his eyelids fluttering open. He blinked at the bright room, then focused on his father. Daddy. How do I feel better? Ethan jolted awake, his eyes widening with relief. He leaned in, brushing damp hair from Leo's forehead. Hey, buddy. You're okay. The doctors fixed you up. Leo's voice was weak but clear. Today I'm awake. Grandma won't make me sleep anymore, right? The words hung in the air, simple, yet piercing. Ethan's throat tightened. He pulled Leo into a gentle hug, his voice cracking. No one will make you sleep like that again. I promise. Daddy's here. Leo nestled against him, whispering, Good. Don't drive fast anymore. I was scared you'd get caught. Ethan managed a tearful laugh. I won't. But you have to promise to stay strong for me. Leo nodded solemnly. Okay. Ms. Carter entered with Dr. Harris, their expressions professional but kind. Dr. Harris checked the latest vitals. Second confirmation on the tox screen. No doubts. Chronic exposure, but he's responding well to treatment. Ms. Carter addressed Ethan. The emergency protective order is in place. Leo remains in your care with weekly check-ins. We'll pursue full custody evaluation, but the evidence supports you. Ethan's shoulders sagged in relief. I get to keep him, she nodded. You've been his father all along. This just makes it official. Outside, Mia's phone rang her sergeant. She stepped into the hall. Reynolds, debrief now. You escorted a violator, explain. Mia laid it out. The child's condition, the tox results. She forwarded the report's videos from the hospital cams, the grandmother's recorded threats. Silence stretched on the line. Finally, her sergeant sighed. You bent rules, but you saved a kid. Written reprimand, no suspension, good work, but stick closer to protocol next time. Mia exhaled, leaning against the wall. For once, the system had bent toward justice. Back in the room, security flanked Evelyn as she tried one last push. This is my grandson. You can't bar me. Miss Carter held up the order. We can. Investigation ongoing, no contact until cleared. Evelyn's face contorted. You'll all pay for this. Guards guided her out, her protests fading down the corridor. No dramatics, just the quiet enforcement of facts. Weeks later, in a small park on the edge of Denver, autumn leaves crunched underfoot. Ethan pushed Leo on a swing, the boy's laughter ringing out, healthy, vibrant. No more unexplained sleeps, no shadows of doubt. Mia walked by on her day off, out of uniform in jeans and a sweater. She paused, recognizing them. Leo spotted her first, officer lady. She smiled, approaching. Hey, kiddo, looking good. Leo hopped off the swing, clutching a stuffed bear from the hospital gift shop. He held it out shyly. For you. So you don't get cold standing on the road. Mia knelt, accepting it with a soft laugh. Thanks. I'll keep him safe. Leo tilted his head. Do you have a mom? Mia hesitated, her voice quiet. Yeah, but we don't see each other much. Leo nodded wisely. Then go home sometimes. Don't make people wait like I waited for Daddy. The words stung, a gentle reminder. Mia ruffled his hair. Smart kid. Ethan approached, hands in his pockets. Mia, thank you for everything. She stood. Just doing my job. He shook his head. More than that. If you're free sometime, coffee. Not as thanks, just because good people deserve a break. Mia glanced at Leo, then back. Yeah, I'd like that. But no speeding to get there, Leo chimed in. I'll remind him. They shared a laugh, the park's breeze carrying away the last remnants of the storm. In the end, a father's desperate drive hadn't broken the law, it had exposed a deeper wrong. Laws protected the innocent, and sometimes the most innocent was a child whispering Daddy in the night.